It is shaping up to be a giant individual scientific draft. The heat, blood pressure, precipitation events, and breeze observational data are in handwriting tables and requirement to be transformed to a shape how computers can analyze. The information comes of the Met Office Space's everyday weather accountable, that were begun by Robert Fitzroy soon following the agent was based in 1854. If the old data is restored, it can later be utilized to rebuild history facility. How will put more than background about several of the changes now happening in our ambience, says Professor Ed Hawkins, of the Domestic Center for Air Scientific and Reed College. Fitzroy initially had weather observational data of 15 UK stations telegraphed to London wherever they were collated and utilized to make the at first always weather forecasts and tempest warnings. Quickly following, he was receive measurements cabled of stations through the mainland as so. It is job how has substantially extended to the date, though contemporary system indicates Sputnik and some observation information are now fed immediately in the supercomputers how do our forecasts. But go behind preliminary to 1950 and a lot of the information in the Met Office Space's ownership is, in pragmatic regulation, out of the achieve of scientists since the data is virtually connected up, in document archive. The lead follows the very success digitization of information collected by the weathermen of Ben Nevis. These were individuals who lived at the UK's tallest mount to get weather measurements on the time, each time among 1883 and 1904. Individual scientists done brief job of the problem, completion the key stage of the transformation trial in fair 8 weeks. Already, his deposit is informative our insight of history events, consisting 1903's Ulysses Tempest, so named since the harm it inflicted through Ireland was aforementioned in James Joyce's Roman. Ben Nevis was in the path of the tempest and the Mountmen's information has fair assisted a new renovation of the occasion, says Met Office Space scholar Dr. Philip Bruhan. Storms are in fact excess, the ambience is in an extraordinary country. He's very rather hard thus to rebuild such events if you fair include a little quantity of observational data. So in the Ben Nevis information, we were capable to exacerbate up the image rather significantly. To the everyday weather accountable, we're departure to begin in 1900 to 1910. It involves more than rather than 100,000 numbers a year. Affirmative, he's a enormous problem, but if we can show the effect on reconstructions later we'll fair hold departure and do as lot as we can. The Ben Nevis draft brought more than rather than 3,500 individual scientists to its reason. Characteristically, a few did largest of the job, on 80% of the force was taken by about 20% of the voluntary. However, Professor Hawkins says he was with amazement by the concern and hopes the new enterprise will draw in though greater next since of the participation of stations through Europe. By 1900, the stations helping to the everyday weather accountable are quite so distribution, all the way of the Arctic round in Sweden downward to southern Spain, and of Ireland through to Germany. We've made several job to try to know how lot gain we will profit while all these observational data, of both of Ben Nevis and the newest draft, are fed in new reanalysis, and it should do for an emergency enhancement in the reconstructions. Several of the statistic how came out of the Ben Nevis draft, that as well transcribed information gathered in the city of Fortress William at the leg of the mount.